Raymond James Stadium in Tampa is sold out for today's NFC Central matchup between the undefeated Minnesota Vikings and the struggling Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Vikings 7-0, the only undefeated team in the NFC, a 2-game lead over the Packers, and the Buccaneers trying to get back to the 500 mark today. Hello everyone, I'm Dick Stockton along with Matt Millen, and in the opening game of the season, the Vikings crushed the Bucs 31-7 in a game that set the tone for both teams. Since then, the Vikings playing with a world of confidence. Matt, what do you feel is the blueprint to this team's success?
Well, I don't think there's any doubt about what the blueprint is. It's their ability to make a big play, and they have big play people. Obviously Randy Moss and Jake Reed, Chris Carter, but they have other people. Robert Smith out of the backfield, Palmer out of the backfield. Really, they have a number of guys they can go to, and they have depth. And if you look at them, I think the one telling thing for the Minnesota Vikings is this: they did not play well last week, and they still won.
On the opposite end of the spectrum, you find the Buccaneers, who are not playing with confidence. They were embarrassed in New Orleans last week. They have yet to score an offensive touchdown in the first half this year. Obviously, they've got to get that attack going.
They really do, and if they're going to, it's not going to be the grinded out stuff that they've done. They have to be able to make a big play, and it has to be down the field. And for them, their big play guy really is Warwick Dunn, number 1, and Jaquez Green, number 2. Green is young. He's green, so to speak. He has to learn how to make the big play, and that really puts more pressure on their offensive line.
So this is a pivotal game for the Buccaneers, who played so well a year ago. And we'll be back with the opening kickoff from Tampa in just a moment.
That's the game. One ball now. Ball's in there. Go for the ball. Let's go, man. All right, man. 1, 2, 3. 60 minutes of football. Play hard. Take it right to him from the right in the middle. Right in the middle. Up front on 3. 1, 2, 3. There we go. That's right.
Kickoff moments away right now. Let's go down to the field. Chip Carter is with Bucs head coach Tony Dungy.
Thanks a lot, Dick. Coach, with an offense that is averaging just over 13 points a game, what do you have to do to turn it around this afternoon?
Well, I think we just have to relax and have fun, especially in the first half, not play so tight, and hopefully we can run the ball too.
All right, good luck this afternoon. Dick, they had a players-only offensive meeting on Wednesday. Let's see today if it helps or not.
All right, Chip, thank you very much. And the Buccaneers will get the ball first, so we'll see early how their offense responds.
I'll tell you this, Dick, I have never, ever been in a players-only meeting that ever worked. What really matters is when you have a players-only meeting on Sunday afternoon around this time. That's usually what it matters.
And when they meet in the end zone.
Bingo.
Mitch Berger will kick off for the Vikings, and you saw Riddell Anthony, one of the top kick returners in the NFC. He's back to receive. Game underway, and a low kick into the end zone, and Anthony will run it out from 5 yards in. Riddell Anthony looking for running room, changes direction, and look at this run back by Anthony, and it gets out to the 35, and it was the kicker, Mitch Berger, who might have saved a touchdown, and he may be shaken up. Mitch Berger slow getting up after he made a big saving tackle on Anthony.
And he's your last line of defense, and all he has to do is not let anybody get past him, and it's anything you can do. And he got him down, but he's I'm sorry, I can't. He tackled like a kicker, but he got him down. That was good.
A small compliment by my partner. 41-yard return by Riddell Anthony, and let's take a look at the Tampa Bay offense. There is Trent Dilfer, who is hardly playing like the Pro Bowl quarterback he was a year ago, but there have been a lot of missed and drop passes and penalties. The offensive line, lackluster last week against the Saints with Gruber, Diaz, Mayberry, Middleton, and Odom. They're up front. As Matt mentioned, Warwick Dunn, one of the big weapons on offense. Bert Emanuel, who had a big game against the Vikings in the opening week before he was injured for a while. And let's take another look, and as Berger starts to get up, what happened on the injury?
Well, he does a nice job of giving him only one way to go. He may have just got a knee to the head there by his own player.
So Berger is up and slowly walking back to the Minnesota Vikings bench. Anthony coming in 4th in the NFC in kickoff returns. One of the strengths that the Bucs have.
He's smiling, because he's getting over to the sideline, and now he has to get to the players.
And what will they say?
And they're looking at him, he gives a smile. Hey, sorry, guys, get a little camera time.
So Tampa Bay starts from the 35-yard line. 2 wide receivers out of the eye. And Warwick Dunn gets the handoff, spinning his way up the middle. And Dunn brought down after a gain of 8 yards by Orlando Thomas and Jimmy Hitchcock. Defensively for the Vikings, playing a lot better than people had figured. Collinet, Randall, Ball, and Alexander, the defensive line. Dwayne Rudd, Ed McDaniel, and Dixon Edwards. Superb set of linebackers. And the secondary maybe playing the best. Corey Fuller and Jimmy Hitchcock are the cornerbacks. Robert Griffith and Orlando Thomas the safeties.
Okay, babe.
2nd and 2, and here is Dunn trying to go outside, and he'll get the first down. Derek Alexander tackled him, and he got enough yards for a Buccaneer first.
Dick, we started the start of the game about talking about big plays. And if Tampa Bay is going to make any big plays, it's got to be Warwick Dunn. And it's how he's going to get that part done. No pun intended. Because they have that they'll give him as much room in the open field as possible.
He comes out, replaced by Lorenzo Neal. Moore, the tight end, is in motion, and Mike Allstott with a carry, and they bring it out to midfield and a gain of about 4 yards. So the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who last year relied on the run, starting out that way today.
Well, if you listen to our pregame show, and Howie Long and I were talking about this, and what do? How do they get this offense going? And really, what you have to do is stay with what you do well. Right now, they've been struggling. They really haven't done any facet of offense real well, but they feel most comfortable with pounding the football. And if they can keep the game close, they can continue to pound.
2nd down and 5. And Dilfer again goes to the ground game. Warwick Dunn back in the game, picks up a couple. It'll be 3rd down and about 4.5 for Tampa Bay as they get into Minnesota territory.
That's John Randall in there just giving a couple, just kind of walking around and bumping into guys and a couple words here and there. And the guy who he'll try to work on today is Frank Middleton. Frank Middleton is a guy who likes to mix it up verbally, and Randall loves that game. And sometimes what happens is you can get a guy out of his game by getting his mouth running.
Gamesmanship by John Randall. He's a master at it. 3rd and 4. 4 wide receivers. One of them is a tight end, Dave Moore. And Dilfer attempting his first pass of the game if he can. And fires wide open up the middle, complete to Warwick Dunn. And inside the Vikings 35, where Robert Griffith makes the tackle, and a 15-yard pickup for Tampa Bay.
Dick, we talked about making a big play. And this whole ability to move for the quarterback starts with John Randall. Yes, he's relentless, but he also starts with that stunt, which makes Stalin Collinet come inside. And then watch Dilfer. His ability to not quit and improvise is something that's been missing in this offense. And you can see, just by the reaction, that is something they need.
And that should do wonders for the confidence level of this team, which has been down. Dilfer's numbers, 1st and 10 at the 34. And a fake. Collinet on the rush, and a great catch is made, and now it's ruled incomplete. Moore, the tight end, was open, but a great pass rush by Stalin Collinet, and he very nearly got to Trent Dilfer.
Nice job by Dilfer to be able to get that ball off. That's 2 times in a row he's been able to improvise. Night at the Improv with Trent Dilfer. Usually, when you run those nakeds, you watch Dave Moore go down, nice call by the officials. You do that against a team that doesn't run that well. Now, this Minnesota defense runs extremely well.
2nd down and 10 on the Viking 34. And the pitch is to Warwick Dunn. All-star blocking, and a fine play made inside and a gain of about 3, and that was John Randall who made the stop on Warrick Dunn.
It's funny watching John Randall. There's a lot of reasons why I like this guy, but the biggest reason I love him is he has what you call a motor, and that is you never stop, no matter what. Yes, you're blocked, don't stay blocked. And then you just keep on running to the football. Probably around Friday sometime. They don't take it off till well after the game.
3rd and 7. And Dilfer in the pocket, and he finds a receiver, and it's knocked away incomplete. Carl Williams was the intended receiver and deflected away, so that will bring up 4th down for the Buccaneers. Last week they marched impressively on their first drive, only to see Robert Hape fumble on the Buccaneer 3. So now it's 4th down, and it looks like Tampa Bay will go for it. It is 4th down and 7.
So what are you're gonna, all you'd really gain, you try to pooch kick it inside the 20. If you miss, you're only going to gain 11 yards. And they're not thinking with their field goal kicking right now that it's that strong. So you go for it here.
0 for 2 coming in on 4th down. And here is Dilfer on 4th down, has time, and the pass underneath for Warrick Dunn. He's got the first down to the Vikings 21-yard line, and so the Buccaneers gamble, and it pays off. Griffith and Bursich on the play.
And you can't measure the confidence thing, Dick, because that's real confidence. Watch Warrick Dunn. He does an outstanding job because the first thing he does is secure the pass rush. And so he chips inside off the stunt. And then after he releases, he gets to that area where they need him. And that's in space. By space, I mean there's nobody around him. And you give him an ability to use all of his movement.
And the best protection that Dilfer has received in this drive. 1st and 10 at the 21 of Minnesota. And the handoff to Allstott, and not much there. And that'll bring up 2nd down, but at least Tampa Bay has kept the Viking defense on the field for a long time in the heat in this opening drive.
And they have them off balance. And that's what they need to do. Nick, you mentioned at the start of the game about this Minnesota Viking defense and how they're playing better than people had thought. And I think there's reasons for that, and one of them is they've played with points at their back.
Tony Dungy's saying if we can get them into the 4th quarter, we'll have achieved something today. 2nd and 10. The 11th play of the drive coming up. And a fake and a rollout and the pass to Roberto Emanuel, and he was well surrounded by Viking defenders. It is incomplete, and 3rd down coming up.
You know, I think there's a fine line between confidence and stupidity.
Very fine.
And at one point, you're going to have to just try to throw this thing away because there was coverage down the field. He had somebody in his face, and if Bert Emanuel doesn't tip this thing, this could be picked.
There are 4 defenders in the picture.
Yeah, and so you have to play smart as well as confident.
3rd down and 10. Tampa Bay in field goal range on the 21. Dilfer, and the pass complete to Riddell Anthony, still on his feet, and he gets the first down with a fine second effort motion to about the 10-yard line.
Dick, it's happening because of what we said at the start of the game. Watch the protection by the offensive line. Do a nice job. They come with 4. They pick up 4. They give him a pocket inside. He can step inside. And then when you have that kind of time and you're Riddell Anthony, take Robert Griffith and you take advantage of the fact that he looked back at the quarterback and you get open.
Remember, the Buccaneers have yet to score an offensive touchdown in the first half this season. 1st and goal. Ball just inside the 10, and here is Warrick Dunn with Allstott in front. Dunn turns the corner, and he gets in. Touchdown, Tampa Bay. So the drought finally ends. Got to go back to last December when the Buccaneers scored an offensive touchdown in the first half, and they did this in their first possession today.
And they did it by letting Warrick Dunn Use his speed, and look at this. This is space. Use all that outside. Nice job by Allstott inside. It enables him to be able to clear the corner, and then he bounces out with the speed and gets in.
Michael Houston on for the extra point. And this was a long and fruitful drive. The kick is good, and the Buccaneers, on their first possession, drive down the field and have taken a 7-0 lead over the undefeated Minnesota Vikings. Leading 7-0 on a drive that lasted 7 minutes and 15 seconds, 13 plays. The first half touchdown of the year for the Bucs, and Warrick Dunn accounted for 49 of those 65 yards as a rusher and a receiver.
I think we said at the start of the game they had to get the ball into his hands because he's their real playmaker.
There is David Palmer, number 22, Mo Williams, 21, as Michael Houston prepares to kick off. Getting a well-deserved rest on the Buccaneer bench. This is a short kick, and Palmer on the 11-yard line, returning for the Vikings. Very dangerous, versatile player, David Palmer, tackled by Jeff Gooch. And that means Randy Moss, number 84. He is the third wide receiver. To the top of your picture, Randall Cunningham on first down gets a lot of time, and the pass is caught by Moss, and a first down for the Vikings. 11-yard pickup. Randall Cunningham doing a brilliant job as a backup for Brad Johnson, highest rated passer in the NFL. Everett Lindsey starting at left tackle for Todd Stussy. And look at the weapons that the Minnesota Vikings have. The running back Smith, the three wide receivers, and David Palmer, the all-everything threat. First and 10 at the 35. Play fake. Cunningham's pass, and Andrew Glover, the tight end, makes a tremendous catch and carries defenders to the 35-yard line of Tampa Bay, good for 30 yards.
Dick, we talked about all the weapons they have, and clearly they have a ton of them, and here's another one. Andrew Glover, who I believe this year is playing much better than he did a year ago because he's comfortable with the scheme, and that's a heck of a ball, and goes up and pulls down instead of a tackle.
And the Buccaneers may be vulnerable in the secondary, which we'll tell you about. First down on the Tampa Bay 35. Again, Cunningham has all day. And now taking off all the time out of the pocket. Now he's a lot more judicious, and Hardy Nickerson puts the stamp on after a gain of 8 yards. The Buccaneers defense, and this is unquestionably the strength of the team. Tyoka Jackson starting for the fourth game in place of Chidi Ahanatu. Superb linebackers, especially Derek Brooks. But this is where the Buccaneers may be tested today. Rookie Brian Kelly in his first NFL start. Rondy Barber in his second NFL start, the corner. 2nd and 1. Smith, his first carry of the game, nothing doing, and John Lynch, you'll see him come up to the line often today, stop the play, and that'll bring up third down.
You know, Dick, this Tampa Bay defense has a little bit of a dilemma. They like to play a soft zone, and they like to keep Lynch deep, but in this game, the Minnesota Vikings will give you formations where they're going to force Lynch to have to make a decision what he's going to be.
Third down and 1. David Palmer is in the game.
So now you have 4 wides. Palmer's right here in the slot. You have big playability on the field, which really pressurizes this secondary.
Leroy Hoare, the back goes in motion, and the quick toss, good for the first down. And inside the 20, that was Jake Reed. And right now, here's James Brown for an NFL update. JB?
Dick and Matt, Falcons getting off to a quick start. 62-yard pass play from Chris Chandler to Tony Martin. Sets up this swing pass to Jamal Anderson. He scores, and the Falcons are up by a touch over the Rams. Back to Dick Stockton and the goatee, Matt Miller.
And I'm sure that the Falcons glad they got Chandler back in at quarterback.
No question. Chandler changes the complexion of their entire offense.
Vikings with a first down on the Bucs' 19-yard line. A rollout by Randall Cunningham. He completes completes it to Robert Smith. And the Vikings responding to that opening drive by the Buccaneers, looking impressive as well.
Dick, this is what Minnesota has to do against this defense, because this defense is not going to give you a big play. It's going to be a game of patience for Randall Cunningham and their offense. They're going to try to take away everything deep and make you throw underneath.
Now look at Minnesota. They have scored on their last 31 possessions in the red zone.
Phenomenal.
2nd and 6. There's Robert Smith, ducks down and gets inside the 10 and close to the first down. Charles Mincy in on the stop. So the Vikings may have a 1st and goal, depending on the spot, and we're going to have the measurement.
Well, regardless if it's 1st and goal or not, if you're at Tampa Bay, you better start sniffing number 80. Because he will eat you alive down inside. He'll basketball you. He uses his body extremely well. He uses his brain as much as his brawn. And it is a 1st down.
And he caught 2 touchdown passes in the season's opener in Minnesota, as did Randy Moss.
Chris Carter, to me, is what really makes them go. Because he's really tough to defend. And he'll eat up your zones inside. If you try to undercut him with a linebacker, he'll run through it. He's physical. He's smart.
1st and goal at the 9.
There he is, right there in the slot.
And Carter in motion. And here's Robert Smith up the middle, and he gets in for the touchdown. And the Minnesota Vikings made it look easy against a very strong defense. And they answer the Tampa Bay touchdown, and it's a 7-6 game.
They came out and did the majority of their damage with throwing. But then once they have you spread and have you thinking about those receivers, well, then here comes Robert Smith. Nice job right there by Greg DeLong. Does a good job inside by Christie. Just clears that whole right side, and he's in for 6.
Mitch Berger shaken up on the opening kickoff, holding for the perfect Gary Anderson, who adds the tying point. So Robert Smith, coming off his 3rd 100 rushing game of the year, brings the Vikings even with the Bucs. Gunn on the sidelines as Mike Allstott lines up with Lorenzo Neal. The up back from the 20-yard line. Allstott getting the call, and he dives forward to the 25. Dwayne Rudd is there.
Hey, see, tonight you got The Lost World tonight on Fox. Jurassic Park. I love that movie. Love all the dinosaurs. Always been, hey, look out. Hey, that was a Velociraptor.
Right.
One of my favorite dinosaurs of all time.
Your kids are not going to miss that show tonight.
Absolutely not. I'm not going to miss that show.
You'll have to tape it, though.
Always loved dinosaurs.
2nd and 5. Riddell Anthony in motion. Draw play to Allstott. Mike Allstott powers his way to a 1st down, and that is the Allstott who ran to some great success and to the Pro Bowl a year ago.
And you know, you talk about power. Watch Lorenzo Neal. Low Neal, number 41, the fullback. He is power personified. And he's going to take Dwayne Rudd. That's called a head snapper. You see that? Rudd sees it, reads it perfectly, attacks it, and Low Neal just lowers the boom on him. Gets that head snapping and gives him that 1st down.
This is the physical style that Tony Dungy has longed for since the season started. 1st down at the 31. And the handoff again to Allstott, and he picks a couple of yards. So the Tampa Bay Bucs starting this series with Warwick Dunn on the sideline. A gain of 2 with Jerry Ball, the famous nose tackle, who's having a fine year with the Vikings.
Playing real well and found his game. And you know what? Jerry Ball's an affable guy, outgoing, very bright. Sees the whole picture, and he knows this picture. He has to play a role, and he's very comfortable with it, and he's playing it well.
2nd and 8. This is a play fake. Plenty of time for Dilfer. Going deep up top to Bert Emanuel, and the pass pass incomplete, and covering him well downfield was Jimmy Hitchcock.
Well, Hitchcock wasn't going to get beat deep, and he played it smart. See, he uses his cushion, and he doesn't let it get eaten up. And that's why you have that cushion right there. They tried a little bit of a double move with a pump. Hitchcock just kind of let it breathe and then goes and runs with it. But I think the bigger picture for Tampa is that they push the ball down the field.
And the play selection last week, Tony Dungy not at all happy with the ratio of 18 runs and 44 passes in a close game. Today, they're running the ball more. 3rd down and 8 on the Bucs 33. Warwick Dunn has come back in the game. Trent Dilfer going to Dunn, who holds onto it and gets the first down. And Moore close to midfield. Warwick Dunn, he is the X factor apparently today in a gain of 14.
He should probably be on the X-Files.
Yes.
I'm thinking. Because what they're doing with him is very smart. Mike Shula, the offensive coordinator, has been under fire down here, but he's no dummy. You know, you call up Pop and you say, hey, Dad, what are we trying to do with this? And one of the things you got to do is you've got to get him and keep him in space. And he is very, very outstanding in space. He's an astronaut. I call him John Glenn Dunn.
Very timely, Matt. That is the end of the first quarter with the score. The Vikings 7 and the Buccaneers 7. Fox NFL Sunday will continue after these messages and a word from your local Fox station.
Sunday on Fox.
Begin the second quarter. Dick Stockton and Matt Millen tied at 7. The Buccaneers with a first down on their 46-yard line. And the pitch goes to Dunn, and on the reverse to Riddell Anthony. Anthony turning the corner, and Dixon Edwards, not to be fooled, turned what could have been a big gain into just an average gain of only 2 yards. Less than average at that.
Well, I'm laughing because Riddell Anthony had such high hopes as he turned the corner. And he just knew he was going to go someplace, and all of a sudden, here comes the defenders. The cavalry showed up, and he turned it into nothing. Watch this. He turns the corner. He's feeling so good about himself. And then here comes the group to put the thumb on him.
Looked good on the blackboard.
Looked real good. He's feeling so good. I'm running so fine. Bang.
Second down and 8. Patrick Hape in motion. Dilfer looking for time, and the pass to Riddell Anthony. He makes the catch, and the forward progress will be enough for the first down at the 43. Jimmy Hitchcock defending, and the Buccaneers holding on to the ball as opposed to last week when they dropped 7 passes.
Well, and bigger than that, Dick, is that offensive line. And they've been under fire, and I watched them myself. They did not look solid. But today, they're giving lots of time to throw, and Dilfer is making the throws. So we're giving them time. They're making the catches. In last week's game against New Orleans, they started off fine. They gave him time. He made the throw. They dropped the ball.
9-yard pickup. Ball on the Viking 43. And the handoff is to Mike Allstott. And Mike Allstott with a sensational run inside the 25 and a gain of 21 yards, and he is playing like a man possessed.
And a nice cut by him. Robert Griffiths, the strong safety, came clean. Nobody accounted for him. He walked up, but Allstott gave that little bit of Joliet move to the outside right there. Nice job by Bert Emanuel to get somebody on the safety. And then he gets the power going forward.
So the Tampa Bay Buccaneers running the ball already have gained more yards on the ground than they did in all of last week's game. First down on the 22-yard line. They go back to Allstott, and Allstott gets at least 5 yards on that carry. And in talking to Tony Dungy, he said Allstott slowed up this year, had hip and thumb injuries, had a lot of idle time, and normally he's somebody who outworks everybody, so he wasn't himself coming in.
And he's working now, and he's getting help up front in the work. Watch George Diaz right inside, and then Lorenzo Neal. And if you're going to run on this defense, you have to be able to block John Randall. One of the weaknesses of Randall is he's not a real big guy. And so you can get those big hogs working on him to wear him down.
Allstott gets gets a breather. Warwick Dunn is back in, and he gets the pitch with Lorenzo Neal blocking in front. And he gets inside the 15-yard line, and the first penalty of the game, the first flag of the game is thrown.
That's a kind of a delayed penalty as well.
Derek Alexander making the play, and the initial call is against the Vikings. Ron Blum is our referee today.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, late hit, 93 defense. After this,
there's your man John Randall, little rambunctious.
Little extracurricular. He's just taking a nice stroll in the park today, and then he sees Diaz, and then he figures, well, what the heck, I'll go hit him. I don't know about that, but they did, so they threw the flag.
That's the first penalty of the game, and it comes early in the second.
I'll tell you who's wearing some people out in there is Lorenzo Neal. He is wearing those guys. I mean, he is flat knocking them back.
First and goal now. There's Neal. First year with the Bucs. Ball is at the 7 of Minnesota. Ball stopped back in. Number 40. And here's Allstott. Gets to the 4-yard line, and right now the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offensive line and backs are punishing the front of the Vikings.
But Denny Green told us last night at times they have problems. When they have problems on defense, he said it's when we get a big physical offensive line start pounding on us. They've been able to score so many points early that teams have had to abandon their running game. But this is a big offensive line, and they've brought their A game today.
Yes, they have.
The best I've seen them play.
12th play coming up. Second and goal at the 4. Here is Allstott. He's over. Touchdown, Bucs. Dunn and Allstott, who did so much last year for Tampa Bay when they went to the playoffs. There's a flag down, by the way. And pending this call, the two running backs scoring the first 2 touchdowns today. But here's Ron Blum, and they're going to nullify the score. Holding is the call against Tampa Bay. So a touchdown is taken off the board.
Holding, 83 offense. Penalties enforced from the spot of the
Dave
foul.
Moore, the tight end, a costly holding penalty.
Yeah, he was blocking right up top. He's going to be blocking the outside backer. It's Dave Moore. He just gets on top of him, and I guess they call that little bit of hook. That's kind of sorry, but that's the way it goes.
So they take the touchdown off. It is still 7-7, and now it is second and goal back to the 12. Well, let's see how the Buccaneers respond to that penalty. Here's Trent Dilfer going into the end zone. Touchdown, wide open to Riddell Anthony. Well, they responded decisively in a hurry.
Pretty darn good, I'd say.
There was no one within 10 yards of Anthony.
So that has to be a blown coverage behind, but Dick, a bigger thing than that. I don't know what's gotten into this offensive line. Somebody must have spiced up their breakfast. They are playing very, very well. Play action now. If you'll notice, look at your picture. You see any white jerseys? Nuh-uh. The offensive line has completely nullified the defensive front of Minnesota.
And Trent Dilfer, and you can see the confidence rising with the Buccaneers. Michael Houston with the conversion is good, and the Buccaneers have taken a 14-7 lead. More important, responding from the holding call that took. Buccaneers regain the lead 14-7, and only the 3rd touchdown reception by a wide receiver this season. 80-yard drive, and Mike Allstott, the workhorse, with 7 rushes for 44 yards in that drive.
They should also put a picture up there of Lorenzo Neal, who's wearing some people out.
Yeah. Michael Houston kicking off. Here's David Palmer on the return from the 4-yard line, and Palmer doesn't go anywhere, and a flag is thrown from upfield. Tony Bowie got to him first, but there is a penalty.
Heck, flag went one way, ball carrier went another, helmet went the other.
You're going to pick up the helmet first.
Yeah, always glad to see there's no head in there. You know, that's the good thing.
You kind of breathe a sigh of relief.
Just happy you can breathe.
When it's an empty helmet. Ron Blum.
See Trent Dilfer just trying to keep himself on his game. They're going to take this one back. That'll be half the distance. Dilfer, when I watch him even in practice.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, 31 of the receiving team. Half the distance to the goal.
Wayne Butler.
Timeout.
So they're going to go half the distance. There's Butler. Timeout here.
B by Taco Bell. Want some? By Aetna for what matters most, your health and financial security. And by Norelco for an unexpectedly close shave. Put it to the test.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers undefeated at home this year, 3-0. Defending against the Vikings who start from their 10. Randall Cunningham, the quarterback, is going to put it up on first down. And wide open is Jake Reed. And Reed gets a few extra yards and a big gain this time of 27.
I want you to watch this touchdown. Orlando Thomas is back here, and he's watching Trent Dilfer. What he's looking at is his eyes right there. You see, when he looked outside to Anthony, he drove it. And by driving that, he comes over too much, and Riddell Anthony gets the 6. Now watch these guys. See, one of them is saying yes, 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 and the other one is going, I'm hip, I'm with it.
First down for the Vikings on the 38. Robert Smith is pushed back. And finally, Warren Sapp puts the cap on. This is just the first of the doubleheader and a big one on Fox today. Next, the 49ers and the Packers. And they met in the NFC title game last year in a great duel coming up at quarterback. Brett Favre and Steve Young. Packers have yet to lose to the 49ers since Mike Holmgren left the 49ers to become the head coach of Green Bay.
Dick, you and I had that game when San Francisco played the Green Bay Packers and Steve Young was all they had. They had no running game. But right now, that's what Brett Favre has to look at. He doesn't have a reliable running game, and he's got to be the biggest thing on the field.
Second and 10. Cunningham giving ground and a screen pass to Robert Smith. And Smith on the outside is knocked out of bounds by John Lynch. Right now, let's check in with James Brown for an NFL update.
All right, Dick, when you're, my goodness, 0-7, you got to gamble. Take a look at Billy Joe Tolliver throwing for Sean Dawkins, picked off by a gambling Eric Davis, 56 yards to pay dirt. It's the Panthers on top of Nolans by 14-0. Back to Dick Stockton, Matt Miller.
How did we know that one was coming? And Carolina had them playing just well enough, but just to get beat. Former teammate Eric Davis, a smart player, makes a smart play.
Third down and 1. Evans and Leroy Horn are the running backs, and they give it to Evans, the up back, and he dives for the first down. Good call by the Vikings. Brian Kelly, the rookie cornerback, making the tackle and a gain of 7 yards as you see Smith coming back in with Reed and Moss, and the Vikings again in their second possession in Tampa Bay territory.
Now this again gets down to patience for the Minnesota Vikings because this Tampa Bay defense is going to give them room underneath, but they're not going to get beat deep.
There's the difference in the running game.
There's Randy Moss down the bottom of your screen all by himself right now.
On the 46-yard line, here is Robert Smith with a nifty run and getting about 9 on that play. Robert Smith with a 57-yard touchdown run to break open the game against the Lions last week, and an injured player down on the field. Viking is slow getting up.
That looks like David Dixon, their right offensive guard. That's a big piece of humanity.
And they've already lost Todd Stussy today, their left tackle. We'll be right back.
I can't really tell what happened, but I want you to watch this offensive line. Offensive line really is where the whole game is won. And right now, David Dixon, number 71, he's going to take on Hardy Nickerson. Bang, right there. And I think something got up into his eye, but a nice job of the offensive line of everybody on a man and playing well together as a unit.
Matt Burke, a rookie from Harvard, has come to replace him. 6th round pick, second down and 2. Tampa Bay 38-yard line. Randall Cunningham looking for a receiver, and the pass off the hands of Chris Carter, incomplete, and it'll be third down and short.
Very, very dangerous by Rondé Barber on the outside, but a nice job of this defense of Kelly on the outside. See, that's where he wanted to go right away. But Kelly jumped his coverage. And I want you to watch what Chris Carter does. He's physical, smart. Now, here's the danger. See, Rondé Barber took his eyes off him. You can't do that. Because Chris Carter, he'll basketball you and beat you.
That was the first incompletion thrown by Cunningham. 3rd down and 2. David Palmer is in the lineup. Quarterback sneak. And a flag is down. So Randall Cunningham calling his own number. And let's see if he got the necessary yardage, and we'll find out who the penalty is against.
Dick, you know, Randall Cunningham changed the way quarterback sneaks are
There
run.
is no foul on the play. We're going to measure.
And prior to Randall Cunningham, what they used to like to do is just take the snap, bury your head, and try to drive behind your center. What Cunningham does was unique. And he would take the snap and take a step back and kind of let it develop, and then he'd slide into a crack. And he really does an excellent job when he does that.
And now most teams attempt the quarterback sneak that way.
That's what they do. Ooh, shortage.
By an inch.
Short ski. See how he takes that little bit of a delay, and then he waits for it to develop. That's a nice job by Hardy Nickerson to fill in that hole in a hurry. Now, games and toughness of teams are judged in short yardage and goal line.
This is the Vikings' first 4th down attempt this year. Tampa Bay was successful on the opening series. 4th and inches. And the quarterback sneak, and he's got more than enough. First down to the 35-yard line of Tampa Bay. So the Vikings successful on their first 4th down attempt this year. And this has been a fast-moving first half. Unbelievable that each team has had only 2 possessions. This is only the 2nd for the Vikings in the game.
Been good offense and average defense.
David Dixon has come back in, Matt.
And just as you start talking about Randall Cunningham, he takes a step, he takes a snap right there and just dives forward.
Just like we said. First down on the 35. Robert Smith changes direction impressively. Still going on the outside. Flag is down. And Robert Smith finally upended and knocked out of bounds inside the 15-yard line. But a penalty marker down up around the 30-yard line. Rondé Barber finally knocked Smith out of bounds. But they may bring this back. A hold called against the Vikings.
Holding, number 84, offense, 10 yards.
Randy Moss,
Repeat first
the
down.
rookie wide receiver.
Randy Moss working outside on Kelly, and Kelly goes up to get himself a headbutt, and then he just holds on to him. And that's what they called right at the end. And that's where the flag comes from. What you don't see on that play is what makes Chris Carter so good. Chris Carter took Derek Brooks and blocked him 15 yards down the field.
All the rookies.
Moss has to learn that part of the game. And I said this earlier, I'll say it again. Weakness or strength is his weakness. When he gets a little more physical, Randy Moss will be a complete one.
Kind of a string bean right now. First and 14, back to the 39 following the holding call. Flag down again, and a screen pass to Leroy Horde. Stumbles forward to the 33-yard line. Will be shy of the first down by about 8 yards, but we have another flag. And this one will be another holding call, 2 in a row against the Minnesota Vikings offense.
That's rare.
Holding, 62 offense, 10 yards.
That's
Repeat
the
first
center,
down.
Jeff Christie.
They're working against Brad Culpepper inside, and Culpepper gives you a lot of movement. And he also is a smart guy. Now you're working within the framework. That's a pretty good play by Christie. I'm sorry. That's usually they don't call stuff like that. I think Jeff Christie's having a really good year. I think better than he did a year ago, and I thought last year he took a big step.
But the penalty against him puts the Vikings back to midfield practically, where it's first and 24. Randall Cunningham gets hit, but he gets it off to Horde, and Horde is hit by 2 members of the Buccaneer defense picks up only 5 yards to the 44. Well, it's never been shown on cable, premium movie channels, or any other networks, but tonight on Fox with new scenes and 2nd down and 19. 14-7, the Bucs lead. Cunningham fires to Tate, who's open, and he makes the catch. And now it's knocked away.
Ooh, I don't know.
It looked like Tate
right
had
on top of
possession, but John Lynch and Mincy both there jarred it loose. It appeared he caught the ball at the 5 and went in, but the officials ruled incomplete.
Well, he was right on top of it, so he had to see, because the question is whether or not he's going to have control. That's a beautiful picture of a ball, and at the bottom of that is Tate. Now there's the catch. Oh, baby, I don't know. Now we're looking at that. See, we're looking at that in super slow motion.
Yes.
Now here it is again. He goes up. 1.
No, it came out. Good call.
At least that's what we're going to go with.
That's right. Timeout called by Randall Cunningham. It'll be 3rd and 19 when we come back. Timeout here in Tampa. The Bucs lead 14.
I want you to you make your own call right here to Robert Tate. Now, to me, I would say 6 points. But to the official, it has to be a visceral decision. And he's right on top, and he says no. To me, that looks like 6. Here it is again. Robert Tate. Up. They say no.
3rd down and 19 after the Vikings use a timeout. Cunningham, plenty of time, and he's going deep and making the play in the end zone. Touchdown! Jake Reed makes a great catch on a tremendous throw. And we saw Cunningham last week throw on 60 yards on his way down against the Lions, and this was a sensational zooming throw, 44-yard catch by Reed, and the Vikes get the touchdown anyway.
Hey, you don't get it, try again. And nice time to throw, and then Cunningham just puts a, look at this is perfectly thrown. You can't get better than that. And a great job of Jake Reed positioning his body, concentration. Like Kelly even slapped the ball on the way down, but it's 6.
Gary Anderson, who has not missed an extra point or a field goal, ties the game. So Jake Reed, kind of the forgotten receiver this year for the Vikings, makes a great catch.
Example of what they call cover 3. So you're going to rotate up right here. Now you have 1, 2, 3 deep. The business back here is don't get beat deep. So what happens, Jake Reed runs right by it. And he does a nice job of holding the outside position and making Lynch, the strong safety, have to run a long way. All that happens, and then on top of that, Cunningham throws a perfect pass.
10th touchdown of 20 or more yards by the Vikings, and taking advantage of the inexperience in the secondary. That was rookie Brian Kelly defending. Berger's kick in the end zone, bobbled by Riddell Anthony. That was a muff, and he kept it in the end zone for a touchback. So in this game, with 4:07 remaining, Matt, we have had 4 possessions. Each team has had the ball twice, and each team has scored touchdowns every time they've had the ball.
Both offenses have accomplished what they wanted to do. Minnesota Vikings have been patient, and they've also gotten their big play. The Tampa Bay Bucs have been able to grind it out and also get some plays in the open field with Warwick Dunn.
Total yardage story, but they have not stopped the big play. First down at 10 at the 20-yard line. 4:07 remaining in the first half. Warwick Dunn, who scored the first Tampa Bay touchdown, gets maybe a yard or 2.
You know, Warwick Dunn, not the biggest guy in the world. And sometimes from a defender, you watch this. Now you're Ed McDaniel, you're down there. You try to find Warwick Dunn. You're working off somebody, and he hides. Remember the Kansas City Chiefs with Mike Garrett? And they would hide behind that monstrous offensive line. Well, Warwick Dunn is the same kind of guy. Now, from his vantage point, he's just looking for a little bit of daylight. And he uses that vision and those great feet to find something.
Rookie of the year last season. 2nd down at 8. Pressure on Dilfer, and the pass intended for Allstott out of the backfield, and it was Jerry Ball who came up the middle and put good pressure on the Bucs quarterback.
That was excellent by Jerry Ball, because if Ball does not follow through with running through to get the pressure, that screen is set and they can't make the reception.
Jerry Ball, former Raider, started his career with the Lions. It'll be 3rd down and 8 on the 22.
Jerry Ball used to be a running back in high school.
Yes. And he looked like a running back on that play. Dilfer being chased by John Randall. He gets away from Randall, and the pass to the sideline, Bert Emanuel, and they rule that he has made the catch.
That's a good call by the official.
First down for the Bucs.
Excellent call. I believe that's Al Jury down there, who's been down for a long time and does it perfectly. And this is another night at the Improv again from Trent Dilfer, because John Randall gives his spin move and Dilfer stays with it, then buys time. See, he slows himself down. And Emanuel does an excellent job of coming back to the ball. I'm open. Let me make sure I have the first. Now watch this. Now why that's a catch is because he would have come down had he not been hit. But because the hit drove him out, they give him the reception.
Orlando Thomas made the hit. First down Buccaneers. Play action fake from the 37 and the pass to Emanuel. He's got it, and now it's incomplete. And Emanuel complaining to the official.
You can complain all you want. Once that official waves those hands, you're not changing the thing.
Back.
Dick, can you just see the confidence building? Oh, nice job by Jimmy Hitchcock. I mean,
he stripped it away.
Yeah, that's a great shot. Did you see the break he had on that ball? Jimmy Hitchcock read that thing before Trent Dilfer and made a great break and slapped it away. That's great defense.
Manuel hurt in the opening game. He's come back, and he's a big weapon for the Bucs, who faces 2nd and 10. On the draw play, Warwick Dunn gets running room. Warwick Dunn. And Robert Griffith knocks him out of bounds. A draw play that worked to perfection. 50 yards by Warwick Dunn. And it's first down for the Buccaneers, threatening to score again.
There's Warwick Dunn right here, and watch Mike Allstott come through. He kind of just trips and gets nobody, but he didn't need any help because, again, they got Dunn in a position to use his vision and feet, and then he's off to the races. And before I forget, there's always two sides to the play. Robert Griffiths does a great job of taking the right angle to prevent the score.
2-minute warning, and the Buccaneers looking to break the tie. Two-minute warning here in Tampa Bay. 14-14 the score. Coming up on the Visa halftime report. JB, Terry, Howie, and Chris scores and highlights. All coming up on the Visa halftime report. First and 10 at the 13 for the Bucs. Here's Dunn. That 50-yard run by Warwick Dunn was the longest gain for the Buccaneers all season.
Dick, we said at the start of the game that Warwick Dunn had to have big plays because he was their big playmaker. And today, he's had a bunch of them. I mean, he's been able to do it in the running game, and he's also had a couple of nice pass receptions. The whole key is to get him in the open field. When they can get that part done, Dunn can get it done.
There you see 80 rushing yards, 37 receiving yards, and we still have less than 2 minutes to play in the first half. 2nd and 11, Mike Allstott is the running back. He gets the call, trying to cut inside, but nothing there. And that'll bring up 3rd down. With the clock winding down to a minute to go, the Buccaneers still have all 3 of their timeouts remaining.
Dick, what a great lineup we had today on Fox. I mean, we got this game going, and we have San Francisco, Green Bay, and you got the Lost World, Jurassic Park with the dinosaurs tonight. I'm pretty fired up.
You know what? And you can just stay in front of your television watching Fox.
I would.
All day and night. Warren Sapp has an opinion about the upcoming game between the Packers and the 49ers, and he's pretty opinionated.
San Francisco don't stand a chance. They can't beat them. They can't beat them. There's just something about certain teams and certain places and certain players that bring out the best in them. Brett Favre usually plays his best game against San Fran, and after the last 3 weeks of the way he performed, I'm sure he's ready to go out and play the way he's capable of playing.
You agree with him?
Yeah, I don't think they don't stand a chance. I think Warren Sapp has his own reasons for making that statement, and the one is he has great respect for Brett Favre, and he knows what kind of a player Favre is, but you can't undersell Steve Young in that offense, because I believe this is the best 3 wide receiver package this side of Minnesota, because Minnesota has themselves a fantastic one. Probably faster than that group.
Second half of our Fox doubleheader. 3rd down and 10. Dilfer chased from the pocket looking for a receiver. He has Warren Dunn flagged down, and Dunn is stopped short of the end zone. Penalty marker down.
Yeah, I think that's going to go. Yeah, offensive pass interference.
So they'll bring that back. The Bucs called for the foul. Ron Blum.
Pass interference. 87 offense. 10 yards. Will be 3rd down.
Emmanuel might have pushed off.
Working on Jimmy Hitchcock. Remember, you have a 5-yard bump rule for defense. Ooh, I don't like that one at all.
I don't either. It looked like it was all in the course of the play, man. So instead of the Bucs getting the ball down at the 2, it'll be 3rd and 20.
Trent Dilfer, though, he knows who has the hot hand. And he just saw that highlight package that we gave him Warren Dunn, and he's going to go to him again.
Rookie Jaquez Green, number 81, lined up to the top. Dilfer goes underneath to Dunn. Warren Dunn, head down, is stopped at about the 10-yard line, short of the first down by Ed McDaniel, the middle linebacker. 40 seconds showing, and the Buccaneers will call a timeout. Now they indicate the Vikings have called a timeout. 40 seconds to go, so Minnesota would only call the timeout, Matt, if they think that they'll get the ball back with a chance to do some business.
Well, I mean, Dennis Green knows he has some weapons, and 40 seconds is plenty of time to be able to come back and score 6, especially those guys they have outside. But Trent Dilfer, though, is smart with what he's doing here. I mean, that time they just tried to run everybody off and then get what they could underneath. High percentage, give their field goal kicker a little bit more room, and then you just dump it to Warren Dunn underneath. Dunn's having a phenomenal day.
Yes, he is.
Dilfer is having a very smart and efficient day as well.
Michael Husted, who has struggled, will attempt a 29-yard field goal. He is 6 for 9 on the year, and he missed 2 kicks last week against the Saints. But he did hit on his longest, 52 yards in that New Orleans game. Husted's kick is good, and the Buccaneers, who have not trailed in this game, regain the lead for the second time by a score of 17-14, and the Vikings, who stop the clock, will have 36 seconds to try to get the ball either into the end zone or within field goal range for Gary Anderson, who this season has been automatic.
The confidence that Cunningham is playing with is what Trent Dilfer is looking for. When I watch him, I think Trent Dilfer beats himself up a lot. And he's thinking all the time about how do you get better? What's wrong with this offense? What am I doing wrong? He's always got stuff going on in his head. And I think when he gets to the point to let that go, I think he becomes a better player.
That may be the relaxing aspect that Tony Dungy mentioned to Chip Carter before the game. He can just
that's a good call by you. I mean, that's a real good call, Vic. Because I think that relaxing is what I see in Randall Cunningham, and it looks to me like maturity. That Randall Cunningham is relaxed. You can watch him. He just, as he's playing, you can see him relax as the game unfolds. And he's letting the players make the play.
He's definitely a different man than he was.
No question. No question.
Houston will kick off. There you see many of the weapons that the Vikings have getting set to get back in there. Palmer already on the field, getting set to return the kick. This one by Houston in the end zone, returned by David Palmer. And Palmer slides to the 20-yard line with 30 seconds remaining in the first half. This has been an offensive show. Minnesota's 2 possessions, 2 touchdowns, 186 yards. Tampa Bay, 2 touchdowns and a field goal in 3 possessions.
I think that's the key. And if you look at that, 2 plus 3 is 5. This is the 6th possession. I'm pretty good with math. It's only the 6th possession of the half. The offenses have just been, I can't tell if it's great offense or if it's just average defense, but I tend to think that it's outstanding offense.
First down at the 20-yard line. Vikings out of timeouts. 30 seconds to go in the half. Trailing by 3. Screen pass to Robert Smith, and he scoots out of bounds. Stopping the clock with 23. Vikings have scored 3 times in the final 2 minutes of the first half. And they're trying to make it 4 for 4, but they're going to have to go on top a little bit to get even close to putting it in field goal range for Gary Anderson.
Well, he's going to have to take a shot down here. You have 23 seconds, but you have 0 timeouts. So now would be the time to use the full field to take your shot down the field.
Second down and 8. Cunningham stepping up. Let's go. He's got Randy Moss, and Moss has it and stops the clock, goes out of bounds. A first down, a gain of 41 yards, and the ball is at the 37-yard line. Floyd Young covering.
It's inexcusable by Floyd Young. Who cares if they catch the ball underneath? Do not let him get over the top. Now, it's not entirely his fault. He's trying to push that outside and buy some time so his safety can get there. But in this situation, when you're in 14 seconds, you can't let him get on top. You have to force him to run underneath you.
Second catch for Moss. First down at the 37. 14 seconds remain in the half. Cunningham, and he completes the pass to Robert Smith, who goes out of bounds, and they are in field goal range for Gary Anderson. So you can see why it was a wise call by Dennis Green to call the timeout with 40 seconds to go, as Anderson last week kicked his 400th career field goal and is yet to miss in 15 attempts. Trots on.
Did you just put the old Wamsky on him right there?
Just telling facts, man. Just that's the fact.
You don't make the news, you just give it.
That's been our policy here. This will be a 44-yard attempt. Berger the holder. 7 seconds remaining in the half. Gary Anderson's kick. And it's good, so he is 16 for 16, and his time runs out. Gary Anderson, who has been a tremendous, reliable kicker for Dennis Green this year, ties it up after Randy Moss made the big catch. And that is the end of the first half here at Raymond James Stadium.
What a great first half of football. Great first half of offense, and it promises to be the same in the second half.
44-yard field goal by Gary Anderson, and everyone has connected in every possession in this game. The Vikings and the Buccaneers have had the ball 4 times, and they have scored every time.
Now, for me, one of the things that'll go unnoticed, but an excellent job, and we mentioned it a little earlier, Dennis Green's decision to take the timeout, to give him just 40 seconds.
That's all he needed.
Knowing that he has enough.
You pointed out the fact that he's got the weapons to get the big plays downfield. So the Vikings, I would think, have to like their situation, considering how Tampa Bay started the game.
Plus the fact that they get the ball to start the second half. He's got to like that.
Vikings trying to remain undefeated, 7-0 for the 3rd time in their history. And the end of the first half with the score, the Vikings 17 and the Bucs 17. Fox NFL Sunday will continue as JB, Terry, Howie, and Chris will bring you the Visa halftime report after these messages. Back at Tampa Bay, where the Buccaneers and the Vikings are tied 17-17 at halftime, and our internet halftime. For those on the internet, this week's You Call It bonus question. Which team will have the most penalties in the second half? Log on to foxsports.com to play You Call It. And we continue with the internet. Part 2, Ask the Pros, and we found one in Hockadaqua, Pennsylvania. Today's question comes from Andy in St. Paul, Minnesota, and the question for for Matt Millen is how much of an advantage does Tony Dungy have since he coached with Dennis Green in Minnesota? Good question, Matt.
That is a good question, Andy. And the answer to that is he has a pretty good of advantage because he understands how Dennis Green operates and what he tries to do and get out of his players. What he doesn't have now is a feel for Randy Moss and the way they're running that offense. But he has a pretty good feel for Brian Billick, the offensive coordinator, and Denny Green. So I think that goes a long way, especially in the stretch run of this game.
All right, and the second half coming up shortly, and we'll return to Raymond James Stadium for the start of the second half after these messages from your local Fox station. Look now at the halftime statistics, and the big surprise, you don't often see it, neither team has punted yet in the game.
Well, that's just indicative of all this. The total yards at halftime, I mean, both of them are on to 500-plus yards of offense. And again, it's not like it's been bad defense. It's just been that offenses have been playing extremely well.
Good execution.
Very, very well. That man's had a big play in it. Warwick Dunn with the big plays, which this offense has been lacking.
But a good point made by Howie Long at halftime, and a week ago the Vikings trailed Detroit 13-10. Came back and won with a big third quarter. Let's see how they come back here. Although they're dead even as Michael Houston kicking off David Palmer from the 4-yard line, returning for the Vikings. And Palmer carries it out to about the 25.
One big part you see with this offense has been the 3 wide receivers and the big plays down the field. Their total plays, I mean, half of them, more than half, have gone with that 3 wide receiver package. And here's the deal. I think when you have this, you have a lot of pressure on your defense. You can see 175 yards, 2 scores. The interesting thing is Chris Carter doesn't have a catch. You have the big plays down the field to Jake Reed, Randy Moss right before the half. They present a lot of problems in coverages. And right now, they've opened again with that 3 wide receiver package.
Robert Smith up the middle. Picks up 3.
Remember, we said at the start of the game that patience was going to be the key for this offense. And you can see pushing it down the field is what Tampa wanted to take away. But look at this. 4 out of 5 and the big score. And he has had patience underneath. 6 for 6, 7 for 7. 7 out of 8 from 15 on in.
Moss goes out. 2 wide receivers on 2nd and 7. Cunningham drills it wide open near midfield is Andrew Glover, and that is the second big catch by Glover for good yardage. That added up to 25 with Mincy and Lynch, the safeties, making the tackle.
You can see Chris Carter working outside. This is, again, going against the zone, and sometimes what he's doing is his job. And what that is to draw that corner outside, because Randall is reading that. And because that's gone, the safety bit up front, here comes Glover for a big catch.
And Moss is back in. 3 wide receivers on 1st down on the Viking 47. Robert Smith looking for running room. None there. And there'll be a loss on the play. And Jeff Gooch talked about the outstanding linebacking that the Bucs have. Dickerson and Brooks get a lot of the credit. Gooch that time.
Interesting now, and the answer to their 3 wide receiver package for Tampa Bay, which is interesting to me, is that they haven't gone to nickel. They've gone with their base personnel, and they've taken Derek Brooks, and they've run him up.
There's Brian Kelly, and there's Brooks on 2nd and 11. Showing blitz for one of the rare times. Cunningham directing the receivers, but goes underneath, and that will go as the first catch of the game for Chris Carter. Not much, though, a minimal gain. Well, in the crowd today, George Steinbrenner.
There he is right there.
Yeah, the Yankees principal owner, fresh from a impressive World Championship season by the New York Yankees. Red McCombs, the Viking owner, could not make it. He was slightly ill, so he's not here today to see his Vikings. 3rd down and 9. David Palmer, the 3rd down threat, is in there. Quick screen to Jake Reed going down the sideline and ridden out of bounds. And it was Ronde Barber who saved the touchdown, getting Reed inside the 15-yard line.
Well, Dick, a roll of the dice by Tampa Bay. They come with a blitz up inside, which means you're manning up outside. This is Floyd Young on Jake Reed. And Floyd Young just swing and a miss. Speaking of the world champion New York Yankees, Ronde Barber gets on his horse, but Chris Carter adds a little injury to insult.
Sure did. 32-yard pickup on that big pass play. Vikings threatening to take the lead for the first time. Hand off Charles Evans and a fake. They go to Smith.
Oh, nice tackle.
And Smith on the good fake.
Tried to hit Charles Evans inside and a flip outside to Smith, but Ronde Barber did a real nice job of getting a shoestring tackle outside.
Loss of 1 on the play.
This is an easy thing to do. I mean, Floyd Young just showed you earlier how tough it is. The difference in the plays, however, is Barber gave himself a chance by position.
Made his first NFL start last week at cornerback, the brother of Tiki Barber of the Giants. Only his second year. Timeout called by the Vikings.
I'll see you! I'll see you! I'll see you! Come on! Stop it up! Stop it up!
Fox NFL Sunday is brought to you by GMC Sierra for those who demand more from a truck.
You know, some people, gather around the water cooler at work. Sapp and Crisco, they got around the water bottle, and they just hang out together. Howie Long used to do that. Howie used to walk into the opposing offense's huddle and just steal their water.
Why not? Second down and 11 after the Viking timeout.
Nice
a good catch by Robert Smith, and a flag is down. Smith stopped by Brian Kelly. And it'll go against Tampa Bay.
Illegal contact, 55 defense, 5 yards, first down.
That was Brooks.
Derek Brooks, the illegal contact. Remember, you have 5 yards to get your hit in. That's Andrew Glover, number 82. Now there's his 5, and there's 7, 8, and that's what they're going to call.
Glover figuring in a big play in this drive with a 25-yard catch, and then Reed on a 32-yard pass and run. First and goal for the Vikings on the 10-yard line. Leroy Horde in at running back, and he gets the call, and the power back for the Vikings gets 1 or 2, and Brad Culpepper, the tackle. He's a former Viking, a 10th-round draft pick.
Well, where they try to run is right behind Randall McDaniel. Now, you tell me why. You look at that stance. Now, it's been talked about before, but honestly, that is the ugliest stance I've ever seen in the National Football League. Now, what goes along with that stance is the reason why you run behind him. Randall McDaniel is as good as it gets in this league, even with that hideous thing he calls a stance.
9 straight Pro Bowl selections. Second and goal from the 8. This time Cunningham with a pump fake and a pass, and it's caught by Hunter Goodwin, and he is down to the 2-yard line. And Brian Kelly in on the stop, a gain of 7 yards. More than 5 minutes gone by here in this third quarter. The Vikings threatening, and third and goal coming up.
Did you see who just checked in? Randy Moss along with Palmer. Now, when Palmer checks in the game, he's got to get your attention. And he's a specialty player, and they put specialty plays in for specialty players.
Cunningham 3 for 3 and 3 first downs on third downs. Third and goal, and there's Palmer going in motion, and they fake the pass to him, and the throw for the touchdown, and Jake Reed with his second touchdown catch of the game, and the Vikings have taken their first lead of the game after trailing or been even most of the way.
That play comes to you courtesy of the Viking offensive line. Lots of time to throw for Cunningham. You listen to Terry Bradshaw at halftime of a game and saying Cunningham stays in, you don't bench him. Here's why. Watch the offensive line. Nice job of picking everything up, and then just calm. Knows what he has to see. Bing, ball comes out at 6.
Gary Anderson with the extra point. 75 yards. Cunningham was perfect on this drive as he was in the opening drive, and impressive number, 16 of 18, 258 yards and 2 touchdowns. And Reed has gone over the 100-yard mark in receiving for the first time this year and has caught both Randall Cunningham passes for the score.
That's 89% completion. He's on another planet today.
Not going to hurt his rating at all. Here's Riddell Anthony running out the kickoff from the end zone. Anthony turning on the Jets, and a fine return brings it on beyond the 30-yard line. A gain of 38 on the kickoff return. We'll be right back.
Talked about all the weapons. David Palmer is another weapon. You have Jake Reed up top, Chris Carter in the slot. I want you to watch what happens because you have to be aware of what David Palmer does. Right there, there's the pump to Palmer. Lynch jumps over the top. That clears to the inside. And look what happens, 6 points.
So the Tampa Bay Buccaneers trailing for the first time today. And what will be a significant sequence for them. And the pitch is to Warwick Dunn. Dunn maybe a yard on the play. Dixon Edwards, the linebacker, making the tackle with under 9 minutes remaining in the third quarter as Dunn and Ball exchange pleasantries.
And literally, those are pleasantries. I know Jerry Ball's not dogging him or anything. He's talking to him nicely. And you see the difference. Jerry Ball at about 350, and Warwick Dunn is significantly less. Let's put it that way.
Maybe 50. Second down and 9. Bert Emanuel and Carl Williams are the wide receivers. Over 530 yards, total yards today. Here's the handoff to Warwick Dunn. Did a good job of hiding behind the line and is tackled just shy of the first down by about 2 yards by the free safety Orlando Thomas.
I believe this is a really important series for Tampa Bay. Neither defense has stopped anyone today. We've had no punts in this game. Any offense that's gotten the possession have scored. And if this game is going to turn into one of those games, and you can see it's 24-17, shootout time, this thing's monster. And this down right here is a monster.
Third down and 2 on the Bucs 40. And they give it to Dunn. And Dunn dives forward, and he may have it.
That's Dixon Edwards. That play is completely on Dixon Edwards.
Let's see where they spot the ball.
I think that's short.
He is short.
Dixon Edwards played that flawlessly. Not only that, he didn't make any mistakes. Watch 59 to the other side. His job is just hold it home. But see how he took this angle? He took the angle because he wasn't going to give him the speed.
First down for the Buccaneers.
Like I said, it's a first down. Anybody can see that. You know, the difference in the play, look at Warwick Dunn looking right away, want to know where that first down is. You see the difference is he finished the play. He knew he couldn't get the angle on Dixon Edwards, so he squared his shoulders and took it straight forward. Beat my eyesight. I didn't think he had it.
Well, he didn't make it by much. First down on the 42. Williams in motion toward the line, and the handoff is to Warwick Dunn, and he gets tripped up by Stalin Collinet, who might have saved a big gain on that one play.
You know, Dick, we've talked about the offensive line of the Tampa Bay Bucs, and really they've done an excellent job on John Randall inside. Now this is George Diaz, just going to body position him, and maybe a little bit of holding going on in there, but he does a nice job of riding Randall where he wants to go. One of the keys with John Randall, he gives you so much movement, you don't have to pound him, you just have to stay with him.
We have not had any sacks nor turnovers as well as punts in this game. 2nd and 7. But a big rushing day for the Buccaneers, who go to the ground again. And Mike Oldstock, head down. Boy, he went through several defenders, including Orlando Thomas, gets the first down and more into Minnesota territory to the 40-yard line.
Dick, This was Howie Long, talked about him at halftime. Watch Lorenzo Neal. There's your key right there. Neal takes Ed McDaniel and throws him one way. Allstott just is running where the guys in front of him have made the holes. Watch Neal right there. Bang. Nice shot. And another good job by Dave Moore on Dixon Edwards. That Lorenzo Neal, he'll be on my team any day.
That's why they got him to be the blocker for both Dunn and Allstott. First down, they go to Allstott again, and the Vikings trying to chase him from behind, and a pickup of nearly 5 yards. Derek Alexander finally got him.
See, that's what separates Allstott from a normal fullback. He's not a fullback. We've talked about this a million times. He's a feature back, because right there, that little bit of burst and slash is what separates him from a big lumbering kind of fullback.
2nd down and 6. Allstott with a much-deserved breather. So right now, Lorenzo Neal is the blocking back for Warwick Dunn. The ball is on the Viking 36. They go to Dunn again. Dunn gets hit at the line and stopped at the 35, a pickup of 1. Robert Griffith forcing the play from the secondary. Good play by Griffith, and that'll bring up a 3rd and about 5.
Anytime you watch a tape of the Minnesota Vikings defense, miles an hour and is reckless. I love his style of play.
5 interceptions, tied for the NFL lead in that department. Buccaneers 5 of 7. They've been successful on 3rd downs. They need 5 here. Dilfer going deep, and the pass knocked away by Jimmy Hitchcock. It was intended for Carl Williams, and a perfectly played textbook play by Hitchcock.
Hitchcock is playing his rear end off out there today. He is really playing well because he's playing smart. Use your cushion. Okay, they try that little double move outside. Hitchcock plays it perfect, holds the inside position, and then really a nice job by Williams of preventing the interception because he played it extremely well.
And they're going to go for it on 4th down. They were successful earlier today. Jacquez Green, number 81, lines up to the bottom of your screen. 4th and 5. Green, the speedy rookie, getting his chance, but the pass goes underneath, and it's a 1st down to Riddell Anthony. Flag is down as well, and they have a face mask tacked on. It is a 1st down, and a gain of 16.
Yeah, Corey Fuller's going to see I didn't have the face mask, I just had the neck. But a nice job again. Offensive line, much maligned, I might say, offensive line of Tampa Bay, giving the time to throw. Dilfer picks and chooses wisely underneath, throws the ball where he has to. Now watch the end and see if it's a face mask or a neck. Can't tell really from that angle. Now this one will be definitive. Now, to me, that looks like it was in the neck, but that knee, see that right knee, the twist, that's more of a problem than the hand up in the face.
There's Ron Blum with the call.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, 27 defense, 15 yards on the end of the run. 1st down.
I personally think I disagree with that. I don't like that call because you don't have any intention whatsoever of going over there to do that. You're going over there to make the play. And you don't have time in a split second to say, this is going to be intentional, not intentional, unnecessary, whatever. Your concern is just get the guy down.
I don't think they call it because of the intent. I don't think you can measure intent.
No, I agree.
I think it's the act of what he did.
See, that's not unnecessary. To me, if I'm the defensive coordinator, I'm saying that's necessary to bring him down.
1st and goal at the 9 for the Buccaneers after the 16-yard pass play and penalty. Here is Dilfer. Pass to Lorenzo Neal. He's knocked out of bounds.
I love it.
So Neal figuring and join with Fuller.
I love Lorenzo Neal. Howie Long will put him on his tough guy list any day of the week because he plays that style.
How about today?
Oh, by all means. I mean, this is what he's all about. I mean, he's not going to go down. First the ball tries to beat him up, then he tries to beat up Fuller. Just a powerful, mentally tough guy.
Second and goal at the 6-yard line. 3:15 remaining in the third. Keep it on the ground to Mike Allstott, and Allstott gets to the 5-yard line. So despite the fact that this is a wide open offensive game in many respects, this is a very definitely a physical game the way Tony Dungy had envisioned it. Under 3 minutes to go in the third. The Vikings leading for the first time in the game, 24-17. Teams have scored virtually on every possession. We have yet to have a punt in this game. It's been a wide open offensive game and a grueling game.
I don't think we're going to get a punt in this series either. Just a hunch. I don't know.
Shrewd observation.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Third and goal from the 5. Rob Thomas in at wide receiver. And the give is to Warwick Dunn. That'll bring up fourth down. So the Viking defense holds.
Right now you hear a little bit of booze and the people aren't understanding why, but here's the reason.
They're going to go for it on fourth down, I think, Matt.
That one will be, and they are going to. Here comes Allstott on fourth down. This is going to have some major league. You have to wear a. Forget it. I won't say it.
Well, the Bucs are 2 for 2 in fourth down conversions, and they're going for it on fourth and goal at the 5, trailing by a touchdown. Not looking for the 3. They want the 7 to tie it up. But before that, Tampa Bay calls a timeout. Down. They're perfect so far, but this is the biggest gamble by far for Tony Dungy. Fourth and goal at the 5. Broken up short of the goal line. Riddell Anthony was defended nicely by Orlando Thomas, and so the Buccaneers, who gambled on fourth down, passed up the field goal, have turned the ball over on downs to the Minnesota Vikings. Still a touchdown lead for the Vikings. We'll be right back. To get a touchdown, falls short. It was broken up, and let's see if that took the wind out of the sails of the Buccaneers as the Vikings take over on downs. First down, 10 on their 5.
He's going to be even more sick when he sees what he had.
Randall Cunningham in his own end zone, looking for a receiver, none to be found, and runs it out to about the 7.
Patience is what we were talking about with Gilford. Watch what they do. They're going to come inside. They're going to try to get man-to-man outside on Hitchcock. Right there. Hitchcock bites. The fade is there. There's your 6 points. He tried to come off it too soon, and Dilford knows it. And he just beats himself up on the sideline. That's just frustration. He's going to be a little bit more mad when he sees that fade was there.
Second down and 7, close to a minute remaining here in the third quarter. Vikings lead 24-17. Randall Cunningham swings it out to Robert Smith, and Smith tackled finally by Al Singleton, number 51. Stayed in bounds, under a minute remaining in the third quarter. So it'll be interesting to see the Buccaneers, who have been ahead or tied until that last touchdown pass to Reed in the third quarter, whether the Bucs can stay with the Vikings now.
This is a big series. This is a big down right now for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. If they can stop them here, they can get some field position back.
Third and 4 from the 11. David Palmer is in the game.
That's like stealing.
Passes to Palmer, and Palmer gets a second effort and gets the first down. So big play by the big threat on third down, David Palmer. Charles Mincy made the tackle.
I think that's like stealing. They're gonna play the zone. They're gonna put Palmer out in the flat, and you're gonna expect him to be covered. It's not going to happen. Nice job of patience with Randall Cunningham. He just waits for him to clear, and there it is.
Final seconds will tick off, and that is the end of the third quarter with the score. The Vikings 24, the Buccaneers 17. Fox NFL Sunday will continue after a word from your local Fox station.
To Palmer on the sideline after he just beat himself up for a bad decision. Well, I'll tell you this, he plays with pure emotion the whole game long.
No question about it. But the Vikings get a big first down to end the third quarter, and the first play of the fourth quarter is a handoff up the middle of Robert Smith, and not much there. Dick Stockton and Matt Millen started the fourth quarter, and it's been a game of offenses and big plays. 9 drives combined, 7 scores. Randall Cunningham having a brilliant game.
Phenomenal.
Tampa
90%.
Bay running the ball well, but no turnovers, no punts, and no quarterback sacks.
Well, you heard Terry Bradshaw say at halftime, don't take Rand, don't put him to the bench. He playing like this, he's playing better than anybody.
2nd and 9 at the 20. Quick toss. Jake Reed caught at the 25. And of course we have more of the same coming later today. 3 powers in the NFC. The Vikings, of course, undefeated, but the Steve Young-led San Francisco 49ers and Brett Favre guiding the Green Bay Packers in what is always a classic matchup. That's coming up next from Lambeau Field in Green Bay, the second half of our Fox doubleheader.
If you love football, you're going to love today.
3rd down and 4. Randy Moss and David Palmer have checked in for Minnesota. Randall Cunningham wants to get the ball to someone. He's got Carter. Chris Carter. He's got a first down and steps out of bounds, and he posted up as they do in basketball to make the catch.
And he did it the right way. Used that big body, fended off a tackle. Really, the tackle was there. And then uses his eyes. Watch, he's against right there. Derek Brooks had a chance. He had to make a decision. But watching the outside, how Randy Moss just uses his body on Floyd Young. Don't have to be anything special. Just give Carter a chance to find that little bit of a crease.
First down on the 36. Cunningham gets hit as he throws, and the pass is intercepted, and it's Derek Brooks. He's still going. And the first turnover of the game.
That whole thing was set up by a little bit of a slap on the back of Randall Cunningham by Tyoka Jackson. So Jackson makes the play. Oh, it was Alsherman Singleton, the guy out of Temple. I'm sorry, Alsherman Singleton, perfect job. He made the play because he didn't quit. A valuable lesson for any player watching. Never, ever quit. It's all right to be blocked. It's not all right to stay blocked.
That is only the 5th interception of the year by the Bucs. But they're in good field position, to say the least. First down on the Viking 23, and Warwick Dunn gets hit by Derek Alexander and stopped at the 20-yard line after a gain of 3.
There's Alsherman Singleton. Was coached. Oh, there's our Fox box up there, too.
The Lost World coming up tonight.
Thank you very much. Playing extremely well. Playing like one of those Velocitus Raptors. Oh, there he goes. That's what Alsherman Singleton did, who played at Temple for my buddy Chet Parlavecchio, who coached him.
One of those Raptors ate our sandwiches up here at halftime. 2nd down and 7 at the 20. Tampa Bay trying to take advantage of a big break. Dilfer's pass, incomplete. He was leading Bert Emanuel, and that will bring up 3rd down. Well, last week the Buccaneers threw the ball 44 times, rushed it only 18. That's not their style. Today, more their style.
Yeah, and if I could hand out pats on the back, I'd hand them to that offensive line, because I don't know what they fed them, but whatever they fed them, they should do it every week. They're playing very, very well.
It'll be 3rd and 7 from the 20-yard line. Jacquez Green, the rookie from Florida, number 81, in there. Dilfer stepping up, and he's going for Emanuel, incomplete. So his target has been Bert Emanuel the last 2 passes. Torian Gray was closest to him, and that will bring up 4th down, and the field goal unit comes on.
Well, Bert Emanuel working on the outside, a better throw. I don't know, that'd be a tough throw. That'd be a tough throw because Fuller was right there, as well as Torian Gray, the safety. And
Michael Houston, who connected earlier on a 29-yard field goal, will attempt one here from 38 yards, and they're adjusting the play clock. We have just under 12 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter. So here is Houston trying to bring the Buccaneers closer to the Vikings. And Houston's kick from 38 yards is good, his second of the day. And so the Vikings lead his medium as the Buccaneers take advantage of a turnover and get a field goal from Michael Houston, who kicking off down to David Palmer, returning from the end zone, and Palmer brings it out to the 20-yard line.
If you look around this stadium, it's absolutely gorgeous, but that is a beautiful pirate ship, and that's the one area that the Tampa Bay Bucs have completely over the Minnesota Vikings. Now, in talking to some of the Viking players prior to the game, said, don't believe this baloney. I don't care how nice their pirate ship is. Ours was manly driven. We had to row it. They are using sails, and they're taking the easy way out, and that's why we are what we are. You can thank Stussy, McDaniel, and Christie for those comments.
Matt, I think you could take your hammer and nails, which you often do, back home and help that one at Eden Prairie, don't you think?
I was talking to Todd Stussy before the game, and he said, boy, we did a shoot on that thing, and we stood on the deck, and it collapsed.
Tony Bowie of the Buccaneers at 1975 with the ball on the 20-yard line, leading the Buccaneers 24-20. Fourth quarter, 11:36 to go, and the handoff is to Robert Smith going outside, and Smith tiptoeing down the line, but went out of bounds at the 31. Chased there by John Lynch.
It has been just a fun game to watch all game long, and a game that's been packed with big plays and emotion. When I watch games like this, it lets you know that this is what this league's all about. You're having fun, you're playing hard. It's just fun.
And both teams have responded. They have both shown up today. 1st and 10 at the 31 for the Vikings. Draw play to Smith, stumbled a bit, and brings it out to the 35 for a short gain. Right now, here's James Brown for an NFL update.
Dick and Matt, Giants have gone within striking distance of the Redskins. Play action here. Cannell, stop and go move, run by Ike Hilliard. He beats Darrell Green. 21-14, Skins on top at the start of the fourth. And of course, many of you will see the 49ers taking on the Green Bay Packers. A great quarterback talking to a great broadcaster, Pat Summerall. That game coming up next. Back to Dick and Matt.
Steve Young has not ever beaten the Green Bay Packers. He's 0 for 5. But this is a different team this year that they're playing in Green Bay. They don't have that running game.
2nd and 6, and pressure on Cunningham, and the pass intended for the tight end Andrew Glover incomplete. Speaking of running game, Garrison Hurst gives the 49ers a running threat.
Yeah, he gives them a home run threat, something that they hadn't had. In fact, last year in the playoff game, he was hurt. And really, my mind, maybe the difference in that football game. Well, now is the time for Monty Kiffin, their defensive coordinator. He's kind of taken the wraps off a little bit. There are times you have to take chances. On that second down, he came with a blitz to set up this third down.
But Randall Cunningham has been perfect on third down passing today. 3rd and 6 on the Minnesota 35. There comes pressure, and down he goes, and the first sack of the game. Derek Brooks and Rondy Barber with the blitz, but it was Brooks. You remember he had the interception a little while ago.
Well, we talked about it. Here's Brooks inside, Nickerson inside. They're going to give you a lot of different looks. But Derek Brooks, really, he comes clean because of a missed assignment inside. Andrew Glover, he was accounted for, but he never picked him up.
Our first punt of the game, Mitch Berger kicking it, and it's Jaquez Green who leads the NFL. The flag down.
Hello.
Penalty marker down at the line of scrimmage, back at the 20-yard line.
All Alshirman Singleton is pointing to Mike Morris and the Minnesota Vikings, so Jaquez may have another chance to bring this back, and he will.
Jaquez Green averaging over 25 yards a punt return, by far leading the NFL. He has been spectacular. He had a 55-yarder last week.
He got kissed, though, at the end of that play. Watch Mike Morris, right side. Yeah, see what he did? He just grabbed him and pulled him backwards. And that's an old veteran move. Actually, it's a good move, generally not called. They dropped. See, Mike Morris does a nice job of snapping and getting down the field, and he may not be the fastest or first guy down there, but he gives you a presence and a point to work off. So Singleton drove him backwards, and all he did was just kind of fall back with him, and they caught him.
And all it does is give Jaquez Green another chance. He returned one for a touchdown against the Packers, 95 yards. Second week of the year. Mitch Berger's first punt was 54 yards. That was nullified. Gets this one off, and Jaquez Green at midfield returning for Tampa Bay and gets into Minnesota territory, so that was a huge edge. How many yards, Matt, for the touchdown on 4th and goal from the 5, passed up the field goal. You wondered how they would respond. Brooks made an interception, they got 3, and now
Brooks made a sack, and they got it back again.
That's right. So the Bucs with a first down on the Vikings 43. Mike Allstott is the lone running back, and it's a play-action pass. Dilfer completes the pass. Riddell Anthony, who is in motion, makes the catch and a first down to the 27.
Now that play is all set up because of that running game, and they've had such great success. Now I want you to watch how hard Dilfer is going to sell this play action. He holds it out. That's to draw everybody in. And then you're running the deep out. Nice job of protection. Anthony is able to drive Fuller off, and the ball is thrown perfectly, but it doesn't happen unless you sell that play action inside, which means your running game's got to be there.
Warwick Dunn is into the game right now. 645 total yards today. Ball at the 26, and here is Warwick Dunn. And Dunn has gone over the 100-yard mark rushing as he picks up a healthy 8 on first down. Griffith and McDaniel were there.
Well, they're running the ball literally at will. And they're running the whole time wherever they want to. You can see left, center, right. The most of it has been, the attempts have been inside. The yards was the one run by Warwick Dunn outside to the left. But they got that thing humming. And with that in mind, remember what Chris Collinsworth said at halftime. This is a hot day, and the longer that Minnesota Viking defense is on the field, it starts to take its toll.
And a big rushing day for the Buccaneers. Second down and 1. Here is Mike Allstott.
Good defense.
And he won't get it. Pushed back and may have lost a half a yard. Considering, Matt, that the Bucs gained only 15 yards in the season's opener in Minnesota. Of course, they were behind and had to throw. You saw the difference in last week's rushing output. And there's, you look at Mike Shula, the offensive coordinator. Warwick Dunn having his best day of the year with 106 yards rushing and a score.
There's Foge Fazio, the defensive coordinator for Minnesota. Neither defense really has played an outstanding game, but I believe it's because the offenses they've really stepped up.
I agree. Third down and 2, play fake, and on the bootleg, here is Dilfer. He's got the first down.
Gutsy call. Gutsy call. And you're going to try to beat Clemens, the defensive end, to the corner. And in order for that to happen, your tight end has to try to body position him. But what he did, he gave him enough so that they got even. And then Dilfer, once he got even, used an angle to get the first down.
Ball is on the Viking 15-yard line. The Buccaneers trail the Vikings by 4. Fake and another rollout by Dilfer. Can't find a receiver, and his pass is tipped. Drop. It is incomplete. Emmanuel on the deflection very nearly had a touchdown catch.
Wow. This is the most fun I've had watching a game all season long. Riddell Anthony is coming all the way across. Watch Jimmy Hitchcock staying with his coverage. That's excellent. And then that should have been 6. He had it in his hands. Coming down, working on Fuller, outside, then back. Come back to the ball always. The ball's tipped, and he had it. Nice job by Fuller to get that hand in there just at the end.
Second down and 10. There's Bert Emanuel. Split to the right. Running play to Warren Dunn up the middle. Spins his way to the 5 and close to a first down.
Nice job by the interior line. Tony Mayberry, Middleton, Diaz, Paul Gruber. They have gotten the job done along with Odom. Watch the inside. Just watch him inside. Hape does a nice job. Allstott does a nice job. Middleton with the block. Work done is one tough little sucker inside.
He has a touchdown, 115 yards for his efforts today. It'll be third down and less than a yard. Dunn will come out of the game, so you know they'll have the big people, Neal and Allstott, in there. Ball is at the 6. 3 tight ends, and here is Mike Allstott. First down, touchdown.
That run was reminiscent of last year's Minnesota Viking goal line run. Second effort, powered it in. He doesn't get it done, however, without the great block by Lorenzo Neal. Watch Lorenzo Neal. Here it is. Bang on Dixon Edwards. And then he just fouls him. Great job by Allstott of keeping his feet going. Runs over Hitchcock, and Hitchcock needed to wrap his arms. But Low Neal's had himself a dynamite game.
Michael Houston on for the extra point. And the kick is good. And with 5 minutes and 48 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers show what they're made of. After some final quarter, they are undefeated at 7-0, and that record is in jeopardy. But they'll get the ball back with plenty of time remaining. 5 minutes and 48 seconds to go in the fourth quarter. Michael Houston with a deep kick. And the Vikes will take it out on the 20, fielded by Palmer in the end zone.
Last year, Mike Allstott on the goal line really defined what he was all about right here with his second effort and his bruising running style. And that is exactly what he brought to today's game on the goal line again, where he just powered his way into the end zone, just using second effort and power. Right here, Hitchcock runs right through it, keeps the feet going, and it's 6.
Tampa Bay starting out 5-0 last year, trying to regain that magic.
He's an excited guy because Lorenzo Neal's played a dynamite game.
Vikings first down on their 20. They trail now. Randall Cunningham looking for a receiver, goes up, and the flag is down, and the pass caught by Chris Carter at the 42-yard line. But a penalty comes from upfield.
Dick, I was just about to say, this smells like Chris Carter time to me.
They'll bring it back, however.
Well, he was working on Lynch, and that's where the penalty flag is going to come.
They'll nullify a 21-yard gain.
Pass interference. 80 offense.
Yeah.
10 yards.
Watch John Lynch. That's a tall order to cut. See, he took him and threw him to the side. But if I am Randall Cunningham, and it's this time of the game, you got 5.5 to go, you're down by 3, you need something, Chris Carter is your man. He's only had 2 catches, but this is the time of the game where he can take it over.
On 1st and 20, Robert Smith stuffed by the Buccaneers, and the crowd can sense that a big stop here could go a long way toward the Buccaneers ending the Vikings' undefeated season.
Dick, we spoke of the weapons that Minnesota has and the problems they present with those 3 wide receivers and Robert Smith in the backfield. Monty Kiffin, the defensive coordinator, has decided to attack him with regular people, which has put a lot of pressure today on John Lynch, but he's responded.
Second down and 20. is a factor. Cunningham escapes a sack, and Greg DeLong, a tight end, brings it out, loses the helmet, and brings it out short of the first down by about 14 yards, however. And Derek Brooks, who's played a marvelous game, put the pressure on once again, nearly had a safety.
Monty Kiffin is rolling the bones. They come in a blitz. Here comes Hardy Nickerson. You heard Howie Long again at halftime talking about Randall Cunningham and the difference. Patience in the pocket. He didn't take off and ran. He looked to throw, and he made a play.
3rd and long. Big play for the Vikings. Cunningham goes down, sacked by Brad Culpepper. And the former 10th round draft pick by the Vikes with a critical defensive play. Loss of 11.
If Culpepper didn't make a play all game, he chose his spot properly. Watch 77. He just keeps on coming. Hustle is one thing, making the play is another, and he got that play when he had to have it.
Mitch Berger kicking and he shanks it. Jaquez Green is downfield, and Green makes a tough catch on a bounding ball, but recovers and brings it to the 45-yard line of the Vikings. Penalty flag is down back at the 12-yard line.
Oh, it's going to go against the Tampa Bay Bucks. And if this is a hold, this could be a first down.
Frustrated Chris Carter, only 2 catches today.
No, it's not.
Holding while the ball was in the air, 59 of the receiving team. 10 yards is enforced from this change of possession spot. First down, Tampa.
So Jamie Duncan, but it's a post-possession foul.
Yeah, and that was big. You're going to watch the hold right here on the side, all the way down the field. He just latches onto him and doesn't let him go. That's on Pete Bursich, 56 of the Vikings.
Randy Moss showing some frustration.
Well, he's young and he'll be frustrated more after that. But a duo right there is very satisfied. The difference between a good play and a great play is finishing it off.
Tony Dungy said, want to see if we can make the play into the 4th quarter, and this he had. 1st and 10. Here is Mike Allstott. Good straight ahead running. And he gets 6 or 7 yards as we have under 3 minutes remaining here in the 4th quarter. And the clock on the Bucs side right now.
Dick, we came into this game saying that this offensive line had not played very well at all. And again, after I went and watched, I was not impressed. But today, 200 yards. Look at this. No sacks allowed. They've continued to pound it. Almost 6 yards a carry. They have gotten everything they wanted to get done. Today, they were able to achieve.
2nd and 2 on the Tampa Bay 46. Hand off to Mike Allstott. Driving toward the first down. And he appears to have it. First down, Tampa Bay, just short of midfield.
Today, Mike Allstott and Lorenzo Neal have been joined at the hip.
2-minute warning.
Fox NFL Sunday is brought to
the Bucs looking to get to 500. 2-minute warning here at Raymond James Stadium. Tampa Bay with a first down on the 49. Mike Allstott dives forward. And you know, Matt, everyone was wondering as Minnesota calls a timeout why Tony Dungy didn't get mad at somebody this week. That's not his style. He has always remained calm. He doesn't have his feathers ruffled, and he said, my way is going to work in the long run. It's stability, and you have to say his way has paid off today.
Well, because he knows what his team can do, and the sign of good coaching is to put your players in a position that they can do what they do well. And Tony Dungy, all he stressed all week long was execution. And I know I'm kicking this thing all day long, but that offensive line has executed as opposed to having them executed after watching them last week.
Coming up next, one of these teams will execute the other, the 49ers and the Packers from Lambeau Field. Coming up shortly, the second half of our NFL on Fox doubleheader. 2nd and 5 at the 46. Vikings have one timeout left. And again, Mike Allstott. He has been that way all day. Look at this. That is an exclamation point if there ever was one.
And did you watch Allstott finish the play? Second effort. Keeps on churning. Offensive line dominating the line of scrimmage. Lorenzo Neal doing what he has to do. And then watch Allstott. He's in the clear. He can smell it. But watch him finish. Watch him cover the ball. He knows he can't let it go. He'll take the hit, but he's not giving the ball up.
A career high for Mike Allstott. 129 yards. And combined, 244. As Warwick Dunn gained 115 yards today. Under a minute remaining. And the Vikings are just going to let this thing run out. A monumental victory for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Their season perhaps on the line. They responded. Dennis Green's Minnesota Vikings will taste defeat for the first time this year. They'll go to 7-1. And the Buccaneers will get back to 500 and remain undefeated here in their new Raymond James Stadium at 4-0. But Mike Allstott, career high 128 yards. And Warwick Dunn 115 today. And of course the offensive line that Matt's been talking about throughout the afternoon.
Hand out game balls to Warwick Dunn for the big play that they needed. To the offensive line for the consistency that they lacked. To Lorenzo Neal for the toughness that they hadn't had, and to Mike Allstott for the hammer that they had to get done.
So the Tampa Bay Buccaneers get the go-ahead touchdown in the fourth quarter. Mike Allstott, and have ended the 7-game winning streak of the Minnesota Vikings. The final score, the Buccaneers 27 and the Vikings 24. So updating the NFC Central standings. The Vikings are now 7-1 with the Packers pleased with that outcome in their game with the 49ers coming up, and the Buccaneers 4-4 on the year in third place and a huge win. Right now, let's go down to the field and Chip Carter. Chip.
Thanks a lot, Dick. We're kind of working our way up to Trent Dilfer right now. We're still getting congratulations from the Minnesota Vikings. Trent, what went right for you this afternoon? Why was your offense clicking like this?
You know, we came out, we wanted to be physical, we wanted to make plays. We knew we had it in us. This group probably pulled together as much as I've ever seen a group pull together this week. We decided we're going to really enjoy playing with one another and have fun. And we were in the huddle, we were playing, we talked about two things: be physical and make plays and have fun, and that's what we did.
They obviously were. Congratulations, Trent. Let's go back upstairs to Dick and Matt. Dick?
All right, Chip, thanks very much. A rewarding victory today, and spearheaded by Mike Allstott with his great run. Matt and I will be back here at Tampa in a moment. Again, the final score, the Bucs 27, the Vikings, their first loss of the year, 24.